In chapter 20, we're introduced to the various people that were involved in the Great Awakening of the late 1700s and the early to mid 1800s. During that time, there was a global revival that took place in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Join us on this journey through the book Great Controversy, where we see that the war between good and evil involves every person on the planet. The events spoken of in this book will shape your present and guide your future. After 1798, when the book of Daniel began to be fully understood, the Advent movement appeared simultaneously in different countries at the same time. In 1821, just 3 years after William Miller had arrived at his conclusions, Dr. Joseph Wolf, known as the missionary to the world, began preaching the soon return of Jesus. He was a quite remarkable man. Born in Germany of Jewish descent to a father who was a rabbi, he was challenged at the age of 7 to read Isaiah 53, which made a huge impression on him. Leaving home at just the age of 11, he would later go on to spend some time here in Rome, though he never converted to Catholicism. He would go on to spend 2 years here in England, where he ran into Edward Irving and would participate in a set of lectures on the Second Coming at Albury Park. After leaving England, he would go to Egypt, Abyssinia, Syria, Palestine, Persia, and India, to name but a few. He traveled to places that others would not dream of going, but he trusted in God's word and God's protection. He would also go to the remote island of St. Helena and the United States of America, where he spoke in Congress Hall after the President John Quincy Adams had sanctioned it. In 1826, it was estimated by Morant Brock, an English writer, that there were 700 ministers within the Church of England who were preaching about the soon return of Jesus. Materials that had made their way to the UK from the US were reprinted and distributed. In 1842, Robert Winter returned to the UK, where he preached about the soon return of Jesus. In South America, a Jesuit priest by the name of Manuel de la Cunza published his views on the Second Coming, and he wrote under a pseudonym of Rabbi Ben Ezra, and whilst he wrote in the 1700s, his books were not translated into the English until 1824. Johann Bengel preached the message in Germany, and his writings spread far across Christendom. In France and Switzerland, Gaussen preached in places where a few centuries before Farel and Calvin had worked. He was particularly successful at reaching children, and by making the gospel relevant for children, it removed all objections from the adults of grasping the message. In Scandinavia, we find child preachers proclaiming the soon return of Jesus. This revival wasn't just limited to North America, but it was a global awakening as people saw the relevance of God's word for their time, a relevance that is still there today. May we have the same passion for sharing God's word, a willingness to sacrifice all for the mission, and a desire to see Jesus come soon.